$42,000. That's what my grandmother left me. I turned it into $2.8 million. The wire hit my account on a Tuesday. I was 34 years old, working a double shift as a nurse. I checked my balance between patients. Then I did something most people wouldn't. I didn't buy a car.
I didn't quit my job.
I didn't tell anyone. I invested every dollar into a coffee shop I had never set foot in. Let me show you how a nurse from Cincinnati turned a small inheritance into a life-changing fortune without quitting her day job or losing her mind. The coffee shop was called Blue Mug. 3 locations in Columbus. The owner was desperate for cash. His wife had cancer. I called him after midnight. He picked up on the first ring. My name is Elena. I'm 41 now. But when this story starts, I was 34. Single. No kids. A nurse at Cincinnati General. 12-hour shifts. Sometimes 16. I wore blue scrubs with a coffee stain on the left pocket that never came out. My shoes squeaked on the linoleum. I smelled like hand sanitizer and exhaustion. I had $14,000 in savings. A 2014 Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door. A small apartment in a complex called the Oaks. My neighbor, Mr. Hendricks, played polka music at 6 a.m. I never complained. He was 82. He had earned it. My grandmother, Nana Rosa, died in June. She was 89. She lived in a small house in Dayton. She drove a 1998 Buick LeSabre. She clipped coupons. She saved everything. She left me $42,000. Not a penny more. Not a penny less. I got the check in the mail. No ceremony. No lawyer. Just an envelope with my name in her shaky handwriting. I opened it in the break room. I was eating a stale bagel. I almost choked. I am not a normal person. Most people would have put the money in a savings account, or paid off debt, or bought a newer car, or taken a vacation. I did none of those things. I have been following a small coffee chain called Blue Mug. 3 locations in Columbus. Their cold brew was legendary. Their pastries were mediocre, but their numbers were solid. I had been reading their financials for months. I had no business reading financials. I was a nurse, but I was a nurse who read. The owner, a man named Gary, had posted on a small business forum that he was looking for investors. His wife had been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. He needed cash to cover medical bills and keep the business afloat. He was offering 20% equity for $200,000. I had $42,000. I called him at 11:47 p.m. He answered on the first ring. He sounded tired. I sounded crazy. I said, I have $42,000. I want in. He said, that's not enough. I need $200,000. I said, then take $42,000 and let me bring in other investors. He paused.
Who?
I said, I don't know yet, but I'll find them. He laughed. Not mean, just tired. You're a nurse? Yes. And you want to invest in my coffee shops? Yes. I sent him a wire transfer the next morning. $42,000.
Gone.
I had $14,000 left in savings. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell Mr. Hendricks. I just went back to work. Over the next 6 months, I brought in 3 other investors. A dentist from Toledo. A retired teacher from Cleveland. A guy who sold car parts on eBay. Together, we raised $180,000. Gary gave us 18% equity. My share was 4.5%. Not much, but it was something. I didn't touch the investment for 2 years. I worked my shifts. I changed bedpans. I started IVs. I held hands of dying patients. I went home. I slept. I did it again. Mr. Hendricks played polka. I stopped noticing. Then, in 2019, a regional coffee chain called Morning Brew offered to buy Blue Mug. $8.2 million. Gary was cancer-free. His wife had recovered. He wanted to retire. He took the deal. My 4.5% was worth $369,000. Before taxes. I stared at the email. I read it 11 times. Then I called my father. He said, "What's wrong?" I said, nothing. I need an accountant. He said, since when? I said, since now. After taxes, I walked with $247,000. I had turned $42,000 into $247,000. That's a 488% return. I was proud. I was also terrified. I didn't spend the money. I didn't quit my job. I didn't buy a house. I invested it again. This time, I found a small bakery in Louisville called Rise and Shine. The owner was a woman named Teresa. She made the best croissants I had ever eaten. She wanted to expand to 3 locations. I gave her $100,000 for 10% equity. Teresa worked harder than anyone I knew. She woke up at 3 a.m. every day. She baked. She cleaned. She managed. She cried in the walk-in when sales were slow. She laughed in the dining room when they were good. In 2021, a private equity firm bought Rise and Shine for $4.6 million. My 10% was worth $460,000. After taxes, $308,000. I now had $555,000 from $42,000 in 4 years. I did not buy a Lamborghini. I did not buy a penthouse. I did not quit nursing. I bought a duplex in Cincinnati. $380,000. Put 20% down. Rented out both units. My tenant on the left is a librarian named Patricia. She pays $1,400 a month. My tenant on the right is a mechanic named Luis. He pays $1,300. Their rent covers my mortgage, taxes, and insurance. I live in my same apartment. Mr. Hendricks still plays polka. He's 89 now. I don't mind. In 2022, I found a third business. A small hardware store in Dayton called Ace on Fifth. The owner was retiring. No family to take over. I partnered with 2 other investors. We bought it for $1.2 million. My share was $240,000. I borrowed $100,000 against my duplex. The store makes $180,000 in profit annually. My share is $36,000 a year. I am 41 years old. I still work as a nurse. I still wear blue scrubs. I still have the dent in my Honda Civic. I still eat stale bagels in the break room. But I also own pieces of 3 businesses. I have $980,000 in index funds. I have a duplex that pays for itself. I have a hardware store that puts $3,000 in my pocket every month. I have no debt. I have no mortgage. I have no stress. My net worth is $2.8 million from $42,000. I did not get lucky. I got patient. I got curious. I got brave. I got weird. I am not a normal person.
I didn't quit my job.
I didn't buy a Porsche. I didn't move to Miami. I kept showing up. I kept changing bedpans. I kept holding hands. I kept investing in people who worked harder than me. My grandmother, Nana Rosa, clipped coupons until she died. She drove a 1998 Buick. She saved $42,000 over 40 years. She gave it to me. She would not understand private equity. She would not understand cap tables. She would understand that I didn't waste it. She would understand that I turned her coupons into a hardware store, her Buick into a duplex, her 40 years into $2.8 million. I work tomorrow. Double shift. I will wear my blue scrubs. I will drink bad coffee. I will check on Mr. Hendricks.
He fell last week.
I helped him up. He said, "You're a good nurse, Elena." I said, "I'm a good investor too."
He laughed. He didn't believe me.
That's fine. I don't need him to believe me. I just need to keep showing up. That's the secret. That's the whole secret. Show up. Be patient.
Be weird.
Be not normal. And one day you look up and $42,000 is $2.8 million.